We are now live. Shout out to everybody on the book, Facebook. This is Dre all day. Y'all know what it is. Happy Tuesday, everybody out there. This is Dre Baldwin. For those of you who don't know me, I am here right now. It is time. We about to get into this live. I got a lot of value that I want to share with y'all here today. So everybody who is coming in, tell me your name and location. Name and location. And we're going to get into the material very shortly. We're not going to waste a whole lot of time because we got a lot to get to out here. So as y'all coming in, tell me your name and location, name and location, name and location. If you on Facebook, tell me your name and location. I'm pinning a comment right now so everybody knows where to go get the free book, The Mirror of Motivation. If you're going to get a free book, you might as well get it from me because I got a whole bunch of them. After you finish this one, I'm gonna have another one for you to read after that, and another one after that, and another one after that. Shout out to DJ Khaled. So as y'all coming in, tell me your name and location in the comments, Facebook, Instagram. Tell me your name and location as y'all coming in. Let's get to it. We about to get started in the not too distant future. Chris from Vancouver with the first comment. Congratulations. Ray from Playa del Rey. What up? John from Philly. What part of Philly you in, John? Shout out to everybody in Philly, Germantown, Uptown, Mount Airy, Oak Lane, North Philly, South Philly, West Philly, Southwest. Alonzo checking in from Texas. What's up? Over on Facebook. Shout out to everybody on Facebook who's watching this. Shout out to everybody on the gram who's watching this. Ethan from Grand Prairie. What up? Chris from Carrollton. Mattia, not from Pooler this time. Where are you checking in from? If it's not Pooler, where is it? Marvis Morris checking in from West Palm. We got Northeast Philly in the house. My grandma lived in Northeast Philly, so shout out to my grandma, Northeast Philly. Shout out to everybody in Northeast. Brian checking in from Columbus, Ohio. Let's get into it. As y'all come in, tell me your name and location. I'm going to give everybody like 30 more seconds for that. I'm going to introduce myself, then I'm going to introduce the topic. Then we're going to get into the conversation that we need to get into today because there's a lot of things that people need to know about. There's a lot going on right now. It's beautiful here in Miami. For the last 2 weeks, we're going on the third week of beautiful weather here, and nobody's outside. Nobody's outside. This is beach weather, but nobody's on the beach. They closed the beach. They got cops out on the beach. You can't even go on the sand. Kekovic, Croatia, your hometown. So shout out to everybody in their hometown right now. Kekovic, Croatia. Shout out to everybody in Croatia. Shout out to Pula. Shout out to Dubrovnik. Shout out to everywhere else in Croatia. I don't know any other cities. I do know. I know Kekovic. So Brian in Columbus, what's up? All right, 30 more seconds, 10 more seconds, then we're going to get into it. Facebook. You watching this on Facebook right now, leave me a comment, tell me your name and location. We're going to get into this stream right now. I forgot to even leave my own comment. To get my free book, everybody there on Facebook, I just posted that comment to get the free book, The Mirror of Motivation. That's at mirrormotivation.com. Those of y'all on Instagram, y'all see the pinned comment, mirrormotivation.com. That's where you get the free book. If you want a free book, a book that's actually going to give you some value, it's not no BS, not going to be wasting your time. It's going to actually make you better in this time right now. It is The Mirror of Motivation. VH Alonzo said Dre doesn't age. That's a fact. So everybody, those of y'all who don't know me, you should know me because either you follow me on IG or you follow me on Facebook. My name is Dre Baldwin, also known Chakovic. I got it. Chakovic, got it. Now, my name is Dre Baldwin. For those of you who don't know me, also known as Dre All Day. I'm the creator, author, proprietor, CEO of this whole philosophy, this brand, this company that is called Work On Your Game. I'm a former 9-year professional athlete. Now what I do is take this whole philosophy that I utilize to make it in sports, make it into the top 1% of sports, playing professional sports, and teach everyone out there, whether you're an athlete or not, how you take the same mentality necessary to succeed in the sports world and how you use it in the business world, how you use it in the life world, how you can use it you could be in the architectural world, you could be in botany, you could work with animals, you could be a doctor working in a hospital right now, and I know you overwork, so shout out to everybody working in the medical fields right now, trying to keep people safe and healthy. I teach how this work on your game philosophy applies to any area of life for you to dominate your business, your sport, and your life from the inside out, starting with the way that you think. Akon checking in on Facebook was good. Now, what we're going to get into today is this. Since I know that a lot of people are dealing with some uncertainty right now, a lot of people can't be at school, a lot of people can't be at work, you can't get the bag, you can't get a check. You can't sell products to your customers right now, depending on the line of work that you're in, depending on what you got going on, the industry you're in, where you live. A lot of people's stuff is getting slowed down. And right now it's looking like we're looking at another, 30 to 60 days of this at least. And that's if everything goes great. Another 30, 60 days where people can't make money. You might not be able to cut the checks you need to check, pay your bills, pay your mortgage, pay your car notes and all that stuff. And you might be a little bit behind the 8 ball when everything comes back, which could lead to some anxiety. That could lead to some stress. And there's nothing wrong with that because you're human. And I mean, if you don't feel some anxiety or some stress about that, either it's because you got a plan or something you're going to do, or because you don't have feelings, you're dead. So if you're alive, you're going to have some type of feelings. What I want to talk about today is that fear can only control you with your permission. Even though you may have reasons to feel fear, anxiety, stress, and worry, just because those things are happening doesn't mean you have to allow yourself to feel that fear energy. Because the fear energy, all it does is slow you down. Unless it's putting you in a fight or flight situation where you actually got to run away to save your life, or you got to fight because a vicious animal got you backed into the corner. Unless you're in that situation, the fight or flight energy, all it's doing is slowing you down. Slows down your metabolism. It limits your options and the options that you see for yourself in your head. It raises your cortisol levels, which is the stress hormone. And we know that cortisol levels and stress hormones actually speed up your death. All right, they make you live less. All right, your heart beats a little bit too fast. So whatever number of beats your heart has in it on its odometer, or the limit that it's going to get to before it's done, or you get there faster when your stress levels go up, when your cortisol levels go up. You increase your chance of getting terminal diseases like cancer. You probably increase your chance of getting a disease like the coronavirus is going on right now. So you don't want to allow stress to start controlling you or fear to start controlling you. I'm going to tell you here today, I'm going to give you some tools that you can utilize to make sure that fear is not controlling you. Doesn't mean that you won't feel fear at some points in life, because again, fear exists as a good reason. It kept us alive, and sometimes in life it keeps us alive even today. But for the most part, we don't have too many situations that are life or death, but this fear needs somewhere to displace itself, and we find ourselves getting fearful of things that we shouldn't be afraid of. That's what I want to talk about here today, to make sure you don't allow that to keep happening to yourself, at least hopefully not on a regular basis, because again, this becomes a habit, and that stress could cause you cancer, it could cause you to die pretty quickly. And I'm not joking about that. So my aim here is to help you understand how much you actually have control over your fears, which once you understand the control that you have over your fears, you can change your relationship to fear, and you can change your relationship to your life in general, because fear is one of the basic energies, one of the basic emotions that we all feel. It's basically two frequencies, fear and love, and everything falls under one of those categories, fear and love. So anger, stress, worry, those are all under the fear category. And love, you get happiness, joy, just the dopamine, the warm and fuzzies that you get when you share an intimate moment with another person that you love, a person that you just met, person you share something with. Those are the love side. So it's fear and love. How can you start to control that fear impulse so that it's not slowing you down and destroying your life, and it really destroys you from the inside out, literally? So let's get into it. The first point, not even understand, but you just need to remember, because this is something that everybody here probably already knows logically. Fear is intangible. Fear is not something that you can feel. You can't touch it. Fear is not something that happens to you. Fear is not a person. Fear is not an object. Fear is not a situation in life. Fear is not something that happened. Fear is not a certain amount of money in your bank account. Fear is not losing your job. Fear is not somebody telling you they're going to beat you up after school. Fear is not getting into a car accident. Fear is none of those things. Fear is something that is created from within by us as human beings. The situation itself, every situation you go through in life, even the ones that you don't want, or a person that you deal with who is being really negative towards you and you didn't do anything to cause that energy from them, those situations are all neutral. All right? It's the way that you decide to look at it that causes you to feel fear, or to feel negative, or to feel like, damn, what am I going to do with this? Or damn, this is a problem. All these labels that we put on stuff is all based on the way that we decide to think about the situation. Fear is completely intangible. It is not an occurrence. It does not exist in any person, place, or thing. Fear is nothing but a mental creation that we allow to exist because our lack of understanding of what it is. See, some people use the acronym of fear, meaning what? False evidence appearing real. Anybody ever heard somebody use fear as that? False evidence appearing real. But the thing is, we got to be clear. I don't actually agree with that acronym of fear being false evidence appearing real, because even though we can't hear, see, smell, touch, or taste fear, that doesn't mean it is not real. It doesn't mean that we don't feel it. It doesn't mean that that's not a real situation. If you know that you need your job to pay the bills and then you lose your job, but you know those bills, that you didn't lose the bills, but you lost the job, and you feel a little bit of fear like, damn, how am I going to pay these bills? How am I going to make sure my kids can stay in school? How am I going to make sure we got no food on the table and the lights are on? And you're feeling a little bit of fear about that. That's a real feeling. That's not false evidence. That's something that's actually going on. So we're not going to minimize the impact of fear as if it doesn't exist at all. Because I'm not, for those of y'all who are maybe new to me, you haven't heard me too much, I'm not one of these rah-rah motivational speakers that's just going to try to shout down all your problems. We're going to actually address them as they are, and we're going to try to address them on a logical way, a rational way, so we can understand what's actually going on. And if something needs to be addressed, then we're going to address it. If something is good, we're going to call it good. And if something is kind of fucked up, then we're going to say it's fucked up. And we're going to figure out a way to deal with it. But we're not going to act like it's not what it is. Fear is not false evidence. Fear is real evidence, or it becomes real evidence because you decide that it's real. It is, of course, in the eyes of the beholder. But again, let's say you just started a business 3 weeks ago, and then the corona shut everything down, and now you gave up that steady paycheck you had at the old job. You got some apprehension about that. You waking up in cold sweats. You're not able to go to sleep. You can't hold down food. That's a real feeling. All right. That's not a tangible thing, but human emotion is real. Every human who's watching this, you have felt emotion. You really felt that emotion, even though you can't touch it. You can't put it in somebody's hands. You can't hand it to somebody. That's real. So we're not going to act like that doesn't happen. However, with all that being said, we'll move on to point number 2. We're talking about here, fear only controls you with your permission. You have control over your emotions. Even though we can't touch fear, we still will acknowledge that it's a real thing because we can feel it. Everybody has felt fear at some point in their lives. But you also have control over how much you allow an emotion to affect you, or how much you allow an emotion to dominate your thoughts, or how much you allow your emotions to overpower your reason and overpower your logic. We all have control of that. The thing is, as emotional beings, we really have to work on this. You got to make it a conscious thing to start getting control of your emotions. And it can be different emotions. Sometimes you might see somebody, or maybe you have been guilty of somebody lashing out in anger. Sometimes you might get a little bit too happy and go a little bit too far in a moment of victory. Sometimes you get fearful, anxious, or worried, and you kind of overcompensate for the situation that you're dealing with because of that emotion is overpowering your logical thinking. Then you look back like, damn, I really didn't have to yell at that person like that. I didn't have to get that angry because somebody cut me off in traffic. I didn't have to get that upset because somebody said something that I didn't like. I didn't have to feel that fearful. The situation is not really that bad once I put it in perspective. We've all done that before, right? We have all overreacted to a situation based on some outside stimulus because our emotions overpowered our logic. And it happens to us as human beings. What I am suggesting that you do, even though it doesn't necessarily mean that you can always start and stop your emotions at the snap of a finger, all right, you would be a robot if you could, but it does mean that when you do feel an emotion and you feel it is starting to overpower your logical thinking, you can identify, you can stop yourself and try to identify, what am I feeling, understand why you're feeling it, and then work at choosing your response. Instead of allowing your emotions to choose your reaction, instead you respond. If any of you have ever been to a doctor, and the late, great Zig Ziglar used this analogy I'm going to share with you here. So when you go to a doctor and you say you're sick and the doctor gives you some medicine and the medicine is kind of not giving you the response that the doctor thought you were going to get, what does the doctor say? The doctor says, well, your body is reacting to the medicine. And what does that mean? When the doctor says your body's reacting to the medicine, it means it's not working. You're getting an adverse reaction, a bad thing, something that we don't want as a response to the kind of medicine you're taking. So the doctor's going to say, you know what, we're going to give you something different because the reaction that you're getting from that medicine is not what we want. But if the doctor gives you medicine and your body starts recovering, you start healing, you start feeling better, the symptoms start going away, what does the doctor say? The doctor says, oh, great, good news. Your body is responding to the medicine. That's the difference between reacting and responding. Reaction is usually something that we don't want because reaction is impulse, it's off the cuff, it's instinctive, and oftentimes there's no thought that goes into a reaction. But a response, you thought about it, you put some time in between the stimulus and what you actually do, and usually you make better decisions when you respond than when you react. So what I'm telling you here is when you do feel an emotion and you feel it's starting to overpower you, what I'm going to challenge you to do is start to catch yourself. You got to be conscious about this. Catch yourself when you're having emotional reactions to situations, and instead of reacting, challenge yourself to start responding. All that means is take a deep breath, count to 5, then say something back, then reply to that email, then reply to that text, then say something to your significant other or to your child or to one of your parents or to your teacher or to your boss as a response of what they said to you. You don't have to immediately react to it. Just because somebody else did something doesn't mean you had to do something. Just because somebody said something doesn't mean you have to say something. They don't control you. If you're allowing situations and other people's reactions to control your reactions, then you're not in control of yourself. They're controlling you. And I don't think you want to be in position of other people controlling you. So what I'm telling you here is, again, it can be a habitual conditioned response. Anger, retreat, avoidance, fear, sadness. Those are conditioned responses. So the same way you condition yourself to react with anger to another person, you can condition yourself to calm down and relax. You just have to choose to do so, and you got to be thinking about it. Again, this is not something that's just going to happen just because you heard me say it and not because you think it sounds like a good idea. You got to actually condition yourself. You got to be consciously thinking of it. When you're constantly focusing on something, you can create it. When you ignore something, it goes away. Or it just goes and does whatever it's going to do without your supervision because you're not involved. But when you're consciously thinking about something, you can start to control it. So when you start consciously, I'm say it again, think about your emotional reactions to situations in life. Take a deep breath, calm down, and be more measured in your responses rather than reactions to what happens in your life. I guarantee when you start doing this, the reason why I suggest you do this is you will make better decisions that will help you better in the long run when you are responding rather than reacting. Reactions get people in trouble. Reactions get people put in jail. Reactions get people killed. Reactions cause people to lose their jobs. Reactions cause people to say and do things that they cannot take back and they got to pay for the rest of their lives. But responses, usually people say, you know what, I appreciate that response. I appreciate you. Now, I came at you wrong with some kind of energy, but you came at me with a more measured response. I appreciate that because it allowed me to calm down. It allowed me to kind of get perspective on what I was doing, and you didn't allow this to escalate. I appreciate that. I respect that. And the person who came at you wrong will actually want to come back and shake your hand. They can't shake your hand now because we got the coronavirus going on, but you get what I'm saying. They will appreciate the fact that you were more measured. When they lost their cool, you kept yours. And that's what a leader does in every situation in life. When everybody else is flying off the handle, getting out of control, not knowing what to do, and is getting all emotional, the leader is the person who's calm, relaxed, poised, collected, taking a deep breath, and everybody else just seems to follow your lead simply because by the law of contrast, you're showing a different energy from everybody else in the room. So that's what I mean when I'm telling you to learn to respond instead of react in life. So identify the cause of your energies. When you're feeling fear, don't act like it is not happening. Don't act like you're not afraid if you're afraid. Clifford Young, what's good over there on Facebook. Just identify where it's coming from. Why am I feeling fear right now? Why am I angry right now? Why am I pissed off right now? Why am I about to cuss this person out? Why am I about to blow my horn at this pedestrian who just walked in front of my car? Why am I about to put my middle finger up to this driver who cut me off on the highway? Why am I doing this? That's a question to start asking yourself. Why? Why am I feeling this energy? When you ask yourself that question, you're going to start to get the answers of where that energy is coming from. And once you identify it, now that you had a chance to think, you're causing your mind to think now. Instead of reacting, you're thinking. Now you can allow yourself some space where you'll probably start making some better decisions. I'm going to assume you're already a smart person. So a smart person, the more time they think, or not infinitely, but the more time you take to think about your response before you just fly off the handle, usually you will do something smarter because you're a smart individual, right? If you let a smart person think, they're going to do something smart. Now, if you take away somebody's ability to think and make them just immediately react, well, anybody could do something stupid. But if you allow a smart person time to think, they'll usually do something smart because that's what smart people do. Now, if a stupid person gets time to think, they might do something stupid anyway. But I'm going to assume that you are smart since you're watching me. So that's the first 2 points. First one, again, is remember that fear is intangible, but we're not going to act like it's not real. It's still a real thing. But understand that you do create it in your mind, which means you can control it, which is point number 2. You have control over your emotions. When you're feeling a strong emotion, stop yourself, pause, and ask yourself, why am I feeling this energy? Get control over your emotions. Do not allow your emotions to control you, because people who allow their emotions to control them, they usually say and do things that they later regret, or they're too dumb to realize that they should regret it, and they end up costing themselves all kinds of opportunities in life. You probably know some people who fit that description. Third point. Today we're talking about how to not allow fear to control you. Alexander the Great, one of the great war generals of all time, he had this saying that he said, every moment free from fear makes a man immortal. And what he meant in that statement, well, I can't tell you what he meant, but I'll tell you my interpretation of what he meant, is that fear is pretty much the only thing in life that slows us down. It slows us from action, or it causes us to only take half measures in the things that we're doing. We see an opportunity, but because we're fearful, we either do nothing or we go halfway. And everybody here who's watching this, when you go halfway in something, you usually only get a half outcome, or you get no outcome whatsoever when we go halfway. You're better off doing nothing than going halfway in life. And if you see an opportunity and you don't go after it, and then later on you're kicking yourself and you're mad at yourself because you didn't take advantage of that opportunity you saw because the fear was controlling you, you got to live with that for the rest of your life. You got to live with that regret. Like, damn, I saw that opportunity, I didn't do anything because I was afraid. And when you finally got a chance to think about it, you're like, damn, it wasn't really nothing to be afraid of. But you allowed that fear to slow you down. You allowed that fear to get in your way. And Alexander the Great, for those of y'all who don't know, he was one of the great war generals. So you got Julius Caesar, Napoleon Bonaparte, Ulysses S. Grant, Genghis Khan, and Alexander the Great. He's on that list. Like, he's on the Mount Rushmore of great war generals. And this guy was a very successful general. He won a lot of battles, won damn near every battle he was ever in. Actually, they say, history books say, Alexander never actually lost a pitched battle. Any battle that happened on the battlefield that his army was in, he was undefeated in his career. But Alexander died when he was like 32 years old from a sickness that, like, the corona was happening. The corona that we got now was happening back then. It would have wiped out all of humanity, and none of us would be alive because there wouldn't be any humans left. But the point is this: when there is no fear, ladies and gentlemen, you don't stop yourself. Or, better stated, when there is fear, but you don't allow that fear to slow you down because you can put the fear in perspective because you're smart enough to do that, then you can notice the fear, acknowledge that there's some fear, but you can still move forward knowing that there's nothing that's actually going to happen that's so bad that you can't recover from, you can't do anything about. You don't overthink when you're not allowing fear to slow you down. You don't hesitate. You don't delay action. When you're unafraid of the only inevitability in life, which is death, that's the only thing that is inevitable in life. Everything else, you failing, you losing your job, them repoing your car, you losing your business, the IRS coming after you, all those things might happen, but they might not. The only thing that's guaranteed to happen is one day you're going to die. So if you're not afraid of dying, and you're not afraid of that one inevitability is going to happen, you shouldn't be afraid of it because it's going to happen whether you're afraid of it or not, then nothing else should get in your way. You can fully embrace the finite life that we all have here. We all are on the clock. We all got a certain amount of time to live, and none of us knows how much time we got left. So since all of us know that logically, what is there to be afraid of? I mean, what's worse than everything being over? Everything's over. It don't matter what bills you owe, or what happened to your car, or if you got a job or not, or how many followers you got on your Facebook page. None of that matters when everything's done, when the whole game is over, right? So since we only got an infinite amount of time here on this planet, each one of us, and we all got a different amount of time, why don't we just take advantage of that time? Not be afraid of what might happen, what could happen, how terrible this current situation is. Because as soon as this one's over, as soon as Corona's over, I guarantee you the news, within a week, they're going to give you something else to be afraid of, something else to keep you clicking on their news stories. Remember that the news is not in the business of informing you, in the business of getting you to click on ads, and not in the business of giving you actual information. So do not read the news. If you want to get information, hit yourself to a couple people who are informed, who give you measured information, people like myself. But the point is this: you have been granted life, and you need to start actually living. Now, I've talked about this in a couple master classes on my podcast, which is called Work on Your Game. If those of y'all who don't know, you can get it's in the podcast app. Go listen to it in the podcast app. You want to get full access to everything I put out in the podcast. I'll tell you how to do that. But go listen to it so you can sample it and see what I'm about. But these that you're hearing right now, I do these every single day on audio. Apple Podcasts, Spotify, SoundCloud, all of that. Y'all know where all that's at. So you need to look at your life. Look at all the places where you feel something within you is in the way of your growth or your progress, and examine that aspect and ask yourself, where's the fear at? Anywhere in your life where you're not doing exactly what you want to do, you don't have everything that you want to have, and someone asks you, well, why don't you have everything you want to have? Usually we got some built-in excuses. I don't have enough time. I don't have that information. I don't know enough people. I'm not good enough yet. Nobody's helping me. Nobody's giving me an opportunity. The bottom line of all of that is some form of fear. There is some form of fear that is stopping you from going and talking to the right person, from making that phone call, from investing that money, from taking that step, from taking that risk, from going and doing that thing. Whatever it is, there's some form of fear in the way that's blocking you from doing what you actually want to do. When you examine it, you'll finally find that fear. And I'm going to refer you to 2 books, not my books. I'm going to refer you to my books in a minute. But 2 books that you can read that can help you with this. One of them is called Letters from a Stoic, written by Louis Seneca. That is all about the whole concept of Stoicism. So any of you heard of Ryan Holiday? He's written a couple books on Stoicism. Damn near all of his books are about Stoicism, at least the ones where he's talking about philosophy. But Seneca is where he got his inspiration, was from Louis Seneca, who was a Roman general, and he wrote these letters to one of his friends, and then they put them all in a book. And that is the whole basic philosophy of Stoicism. So you hear Tim Ferriss talk about this, Ryan Holiday, myself, and whoever else. It all came from Seneca. So go look up that book. It's called Letters from a Stoic. And the other one is The 50th Law by Robert Greene and 50 Cent. That book is all about fear. Everybody knows who 50 Cent is. The guy got shot, damn near died, got over all his fear, because the worst thing you could fear is dying, right? He almost died. He saw it, came right within an inch of it, didn't die, came back. He wasn't afraid of anything else anymore because he had saw the worst thing that could possibly happen to anybody. And he took that energy and he put that into making his life what he really wanted to make it. So even if you're not a rap fan, even if you don't like 50 Cent, the philosophy of the book is not about rap music. It's about getting over your fears in life and approaching life with a fearless mindset. So again, you don't have to like rap or 50 Cent to get value from that book. So with all that being said, 26 straight minutes of talking, I'm going to take questions. If we have any questions, I will take questions. So go ahead and post them right now. I'm going to scroll through. Now, before I scroll through to get to the questions, I'm going to give y'all the commercials. I got 2 books here I want to tell you about. You can get either one of these books for free right now. Mirror Motivation is the pinned comment, is on comments on Facebook, is the pinned comment on IG. Self-Guide to Self-Discipline. This book, if you get this book, this will allow you to light the fire that is within you, or relight the fire that was already within you that you might have allowed to go out, or maybe you just stopped paying attention to it, or maybe you allow somebody else to blow that fire out of you. Get this book and you can relight that fire. I'm not going to light the fire for you. I'm going to show you how you can light the fire. That's why the book is called The Mirror of Motivation. You're going to look in the mirror and figure this out. I'm not going to do it for you. You're going to do it for yourself, because I'm not going to be around to hold your hand and do it for you for the rest of your life, but you'll be around to do it for you. So that's why with this book, you will learn how to light your own fire so that you can start being the person that you really know you deserve to be in life. And those of y'all who want to play basketball overseas, like I did 9 years professionally after walking on at a D3 school, get the overseas basketball blueprint at balloverseas.com. This is 237 pages. You can learn everything you need to know about playing basketball overseas, even if you went to a small school, even if you went to no school, even if you went to a JUCO, even if you didn't know what school is. If you can play ball, you can get this book, balloverseas.com, so that you can start your career and you can live the life that you want to live out your dreams, go overseas, and actually go see the world through playing basketball. All that being said, now let me see what I got comments-wise, if I got any questions. Facebook, y'all got any questions, go ahead and post it. IG, y'all got questions, go ahead and post it. Let's see what we got going on in the comments section. And for those of y'all who read both of those books already, or you're not a basketball player, you already read The Mirror Motivation, you get my book, Work on Your Game. If you already read this, I got a bunch more books, but I don't keep them all here on this table because there's 25 of them, and it would be too big of a stack. I couldn't see over the stack if I put them all on the table. So if you want to know more, go to workonmygame.com or just join the game group. I'll give you access to a whole lot more stuff. Whew. All right. Mark says, what do you do when you're trying to get on the grind, but you're in high school and you don't know what you want to do? Go try things out. Go try a bunch of things out that you may be interested in and see where your interest takes you. Because when you try something out, you'll find out, oh, damn, maybe I'm not as interested as I thought I was. Or maybe you'll try something that you find out that you're more interested than you thought you would be. But you got to go try things out to find out. There's no black and white, like just, all right, if you do this, this, and this, you'll know what to do with your life. You got to try things out and see. That's why life exists. Life exists to be lived. So go out there and live it and just see what's out there. Stephen 22, I appreciate you. Special Olympian, what's good? Anger 218, is that Matt? Man, I ain't heard from y'all in a minute, man. I need that plug. You know what I'm talking about. I ain't gonna say what I'm talking about, but you know what I'm talking about, Matt. I ain't heard from y'all in a minute. The Lickle Monk says, do you think one should read 48 Laws of Power before the 50th law? That's another book by Robert Greene. It doesn't matter. The Lickle Monk who asked that question, doesn't matter. Just read both books. Doesn't matter. Just pick one and read it. And then when you're done with that one, read the other one. Just all you got both books on the table right here. Just go like this, eeny, meeny, miny, mo, pick one, read it, finish that one, then read this one. Then read both of them again because you're not going to remember everything you read in the book anyway. Medina over on Facebook said, how can I get the Mirror of Motivation? Medina, no, don't purchase on Google Play Books. Get it at mirrorofmotivation.com. Medina, if you go to the comment that I posted at the beginning of this stream, I posted a comment, mirrorofmotivation.com. You get the book free. If you go to Google Play, you got to pay for the book. You go to Mirror of Motivation, you don't have to pay for the book. You just pay a small shipping charge and ship it to you worldwide. Let's see. Cash Chris says, am I involved in the stock market? No, that's not my area of expertise. Tyler Robinson says, what age do you believe you were in your prime athletically? I would say, for me, probably as well as damn near every basketball player, would be late 20s, early 30s. So between ages of like 28 to 32, it's usually prime years for basketball players. Usually. There may be some exceptions. Emaner says, why do you think underemployment exists? Some people have a bachelor's degree, but they require a job that doesn't require a degree. Man, well, that's a deep conversation. It's more of an economics conversation that is a little bit over my head, that I don't study that stuff to tell you. But the fact is, a lot of people go to college and don't know what they want to do with their lives. Just because you go to college doesn't mean you're going to graduate. The day that you graduate from college doesn't mean you're just going to wake up the next day with a plan for the rest of your life. All it means is you went to school for 4 more years. That's all it means, and you probably got some bills to pay. But going to school does not guarantee you're going to know what to do with your life. That's not what school was designed for. The school system in America was designed to create factory workers during the Industrial Revolution. Some of y'all don't even know what the Industrial Revolution is. That's how outdated our school system is, that we're still using the same system that we were using after World War II. And some of y'all parents wasn't alive in World War II. We still using the same system. So anyway, the reason why some people have a degree, but they work at a job that doesn't require a degree, because that's the only job they can find at that moment for them. So that's all I can say. Cash Chris says he's assigned to a D3 school. Congratulations. Get your degree. If you don't go to school, you might as well get your degree. Matthias says, have you ever been broke? Hell yeah. Yes. Dennis Derrick says, you say we shouldn't worry about positions in basketball as long as we got game. That is correct. Then it says, why did Anthony Davis complain about playing center? Well, I don't know. You got to ask Anthony Davis. How am I supposed to answer that question? I have no idea why Anthony Davis does what he does. So anyway, everybody, mirrormotivation.com. That's the pinned comment right here. And if you go to if you're on Instagram, go to my profile. It is the link in my bio, mirrormotivation.com. Get this book for free. Anybody who does not have this book, go get this book before they run out of trees. Right now, Amazon is delaying shipments to us because they talking about they gotta send masks and medicine and all that to the people with the COVID-19. I accept that. So before they start saying they ain't shipping nothing, make sure you go get this book, Mirror Motivation, for free before we ain't got no more, before they run out of trees out here. And Overseas Basketball Blueprint, you want to play ball overseas, this is the book to play ball overseas. It's not a book, this is the book to play ball overseas. Somebody asked me, why did I decide to live in Miami? Do you see that sun out there? That's why. And that's that. Everybody, have a great Tuesday. We're doing this again tomorrow. Work on your game. Dre all day.